I was 6 months pregnant and seconds away from being murdered in a hospital bathroom by my own sister-in-law. The moment I found out that my brother's 5-year-old son, Danny, was diagnosed with leukemia, I knew what I had to do. 6 months pregnant, I boarded a flight back home determined to undergo the compatibility test for a stem cell transplant. Danny needed me. He was the only nephew I had, and I would do anything to save his life. The editor reminds you. Search 55,257 on the GoodNovel app to read the full story. Wonderful content continues to play. Part 1. My brother Anthony Ray, EY, drove me to the hospital that morning. His face was lined with exhaustion, and the way he held his breath with every movement revealed just how fragile hope had become for him and his wife. Rosa, Danny is our everything. If this match works out, we might just have a chance. I held his hand tightly, my heart aching for him. It will work out, Anthony. I promise, I'll do everything I can. We reached the hospital, and Anthony went here to get the test results alone, leaving me in the lobby to rest. I took out my phone to call my husband, letting him know I had made it safely. Yes, darling, everything's fine. The baby is okay too. Yes, I miss you. Promise me you'll be here when the baby is born. I smiled softly as I spoke, the love for my husband evident in every word. Before I could say anything more, I felt a sudden yank on my hair, so sharp that I almost lost my balance. You bitch. A woman's furious voice pierced through the air, and in the next moment, I was dragged away by a stranger whose face twisted with rage. I barely managed to shield my stomach, my heart pounding in terror. Wait please, what are you doing? I cried, struggling against her iron grip. But she didn't listen. She shoved me into a bathroom stall, the door slamming shut behind us. The cold tiles bit into my back as she pushed me against the wall. Her face was twisted in fury, her eyes glinting with hatred. You think you can steal my husband and flaunt your bastard child? I won't let you. Not when my child is lying in a hospital bed. It was only then that her words sank in. She was talking about Anthony, my brother. This furious woman was my sister-in-law, Laura P. Atkins. My heart sank as I tried to comprehend the misunderstanding. No, you've got it wrong. I'm Anthony's sister, I gasped, trying to push her away, my arms instinctively shielding my belly. I'm here to save Danny. But Lara wasn't listening. She was too lost in her jealousy, too consumed by fear and rage. She yanked at my clothes, tearing them, her nails digging into my skin. You dare to seduce my husband and come here to flaunt it. I'll show you what happens to women like you. The women behind her were no better. They egged her on, their laughter echoing in the small, suffocating stall. Mistresses deserve worse, one of them sneered. Lara's face was inches from mine, her breath hot against my skin. You think you can fool me? I saw you hiding him. You came here to mock me, to rub it in my face that you're carrying his child. Before I could react, she pushed me down, my knee slamming into the hard tile floor. My head spun with the impact, and panic caught in my chest. The baby. I had to protect my baby. Tears stung my eyes as I tried to shield my stomach, the precious life within me that was supposed to save Danny. Please, you don't understand. My voice was hoarse, desperate, but it was drowned out by Lara's cold, mocking laughter. I understand perfectly, she hissed. You want to take everything from me. But I won't let you. I won't let your bastard live. The next thing I knew, she grabbed a utility knife, her hand steady, her eyes cold. My heart froze as I stared at the blade, my entire body trembling. No, please, I cried out, my voice cracking, but my pleas fell on deaf ears. Suddenly, I heard Anthony's voice calling my name, muffled to the bathroom door. My heart leapt with hope. Anthony, I tried to scream, but Laura's hand clamped over my mouth, stifling my cries. He called my name again, but the weight of her hand silenced me. I struggled, trying to make any sound, anything that might reach him. But after a few moments, his footsteps faded away, leaving me alone with the monsters who wanted me dead. Lara smirked, her voice dripping with malice. Even he left you. No one is coming to save you. She pressed the knife closer, and I closed my eyes, my tears spilling down my cheeks. In that moment, I realized that I was alone, truly alone, and the people I thought would protect me were nowhere to be found. The editor reminds you. Search 55,257 on the GoodNovel app to read the full story. Wonderful content continues to play. Part 2. I don't remember how long I stayed there. Time seemed to blur into a meaningless fog of pain and terror. The knife never fell, and somehow, some way, they must have realized they had gone too far. They left me crumpled on the floor, bruised and broken but alive. My body ached as I struggled to get up, every movement sending a sharp jolt of pain through me. My stomach twisted with fear. Was the baby okay? Was Danny going to lose his chance because of Lara's jealousy? My mind raced, but I forced myself to move. I had to get out. I had to make sure my baby was safe. I stumbled out of the bathroom, my vision blurred with tears, my breaths coming out in ragged gasps. I needed help. I needed Anthony. I needed someone to believe me, to understand that I wasn't the enemy here. The hospital hallway was empty, the fluorescent lights casting an eerie glow on the sterile walls. My legs were shaky, barely able to support me. I leaned against the wall, taking slow steps, each one feeling like a marathon. I was terrified that Lara or her friends would come back, that they'd finish what they started. Finally, I saw a nurse at the end of the hallway. I opened my mouth to call out, but my voice was gone, my throat raw from screaming. I waved weakly, hoping she'd see me, hoping she'd help. She turned, her eyes widening in shock as she rushed over. Oh my God, miss, are you alright? What happened to you? She asked, her voice filled with genuine concern. I tried to speak, but my words came out in a broken whisper. The baby. Please, help me. She didn't hesitate. She wrapped her arm around me, supporting my weight as she led me to a wheelchair. Let's get you checked out. You're safe now. We'll take care of you, she said, her voice gentle. As I was wheeled away, I caught sight of Anthony at the far end of the corridor. He looked frantic, his eyes searching every corner. Our eyes met, and I saw his face crumple in horror as he ran towards me. Rosa, what happened? Who did this to you? He shouted, his voice filled with panic. I reached out for him, tears spilling down my face. Anthony. It was Laura. She thought I was trying to take you away from her. My voice broke, the pain of the misunderstanding cutting deep. Anthony's face went pale, his eyes widening in disbelief. Laura, no. She wouldn't. He looked at me, then at the nurse, his face a mixture of shock and fury. Get a doctor. Now. The nurse nodded, rushing away as Anthony knelt beside me, his hand gripping mine. I'm so sorry, Rosa. I had no idea. I swear, I'll make this right. I'll protect you and the baby. His words were sincere, but the damage had already been done. I closed my eyes, exhaustion washing over me. I wanted to believe him, but a part of me knew that things would never be the same. The trust was shattered, and the safety I once felt was gone. Even as Anthony promised to protect me, I knew that the scars left by betrayal would never truly heal. Search 55,201 to GoodNovel app to read the full story. Wonderful content continues to play. Part 3. The following weeks passed in a haze of hospital visits, whispered apologies, and promises of safety that felt hollow. I had survived the attack, but the life I knew had been irreparably shattered. Every time I closed my eyes, I could still feel Laura's hand on my mouth, her words echoing in my mind, her hatred like a scar that wouldn't fade. Anthony tried. He tried to make things right, tried to convince me to move back in with him and his family so he could protect me, so we could be close to Danny. But I couldn't. I couldn't bear the thought of seeing Laura, of living under the same roof as the woman who had tried to kill me and my child. One morning, Anthony came to visit me at my apartment. He brought Danny along, the boy's face pale and weak, but his eyes lighting up when he saw me. Aunt Rosa, he called out, his voice thin but filled with excitement. He ran to me and I knelt down, wrapping my arms around him gently. Hey, my little fighter, I whispered, holding him close. His small body felt so fragile in my arms, and my heart ached for him. This was why I had come back. This was why I had risked everything. Danny pulled back, his eyes wide. Aunt Rosa, Daddy said you're gonna help me get better. Is that true? I smiled, my eyes stinging with tears. Yes, sweetheart. I'm going to do everything I can to help you get better. You just have to keep being brave for me, okay? He nodded vigorously, a determined look on his face. I will. I promise. Anthony watched us, his face a mixture of hope and guilt. He stepped forward, his voice soft. Rosa, I know. I know I can't change what happened. But Danny needs you. We all need you. Please, come back with me. I looked up at him, the weight of his words pressing down on me. I wanted to help Danny. I wanted to be there for my brother. But the fear, the betrayal, it was all still so fresh, so raw. I shook my head slowly. I can't, Anthony. Not yet. I need time. I need to feel safe again. Anthony's shoulders sagged, and he nodded, his eyes filled with understanding. I get it. Just know that we're here for you. Whatever you need. And Laura. She won't come near you again. I promise. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe that he could keep me safe, that the nightmare was over. But deep down, I knew that the damage was done. The trust between us was fractured, and it would take more than words to mend it. Danny hugged me tightly one last time before they left, his small voice whispering in my ear. I love you, and Rosa. I held him close, my heart breaking. I love you too, sweetheart. Always. As they walked away, I closed the door, leaning against it as tears streamed down my face. I had come back to save Danny, but now, I had to find a way to save myself. I knew that healing would take time, and that some scars would never fade, but for Danny, I had to try no matter how broken I felt. Want to know more? Search 55,257 on a GoodNovel app to read the full story.